Imagine getting up every day full of energy as if you were in your 20s again. What would that be like? What would it be worth to you? What is your health worth to you? Think about it. Your health isn't everything, but without it, everything else is nothing. And yet, too many of us are taking it for granted until something goes wrong. And no one wakes up hoping to be diagnosed with a disease or chronic illness. And yet, we've never been taught how to be proactive in our health through our school or public health. As a registered health coach and integrative health practitioner, I believe it's time this information is made available to everyone. Combining new knowledge around your health and the ability to do my functional medicine lab tests in the comfort of your own home will allow you to optimize your health for today and all your tomorrows. Don't wait for your wake-up call.
Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Wait for Your Wake Up Call podcast. I am Melissa Deely, your host, and today I have here with me Ken Swartz. Welcome to the show, Ken.
Oh, glad to be on, Melissa.
I'm excited to have you here. It's going to be a fabulous conversation. And just to introduce you to the audience, Ken Swartz, known as the Ken the scientist, was working on radiation and fusion research when he experienced a result that didn't fit the science he trusted. With a background in economics, education, and leading multiple research labs, his work led him into projects connected to radiation and the MOXIE fusion reactor. During that time, he began using carbon-60 as a radiation protectant, something he already understood from earlier scientific research. A few months in, he started noticing unexpected shifts in his energy and overall health, enough to keep going. Then, about 8 months later, a routine visit changed everything. A previously identified age-related vision issue, dry macular degeneration, was no longer visible, something his optometrist had never seen before. And that moment in 2016 led Ken to dedicate his work to the research, study, and production of carbon-60. Today, he is co-founder of C60 Power, a company focused on producing high-purity C60 using certified organic oils and a clean, solvent-free process. At the core of his work is a simple belief: your health is your responsibility. People have more influence over how they feel and function than they have ever been led to believe, which is exactly why I'm so excited to have you on the show, because that's the same message I tell all of my listeners and all of my clients. So welcome, 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 Ken. This is going to be a fabulous conversation. And I would love for you to dive in more to about that moment with the optometrist and how that literally shifted your life, your mission, and as well as your vision in more ways than one.
Yes, it was a bit unexpected, that thing with the optometrist. Yeah, because I had been, the project was actually over, but I kept using it because carbon-60, because I had more energy, better mental focus, just all around. But I was maybe the most faithful. And then I go into my optometrist, and actually it was kind of traumatic at the beginning, because I sit down, he does the things, when he puts the lights in your eyes. And,
yes.
The lights in eyes, he's putting in one eye, going the other, going back and forth. He's taking a long time. Then he puts down the light and he opens up the file. Looking at the file, and he goes back up.
Uh-oh.
So he does. I was thinking, oh my God, am I going to go blind? Because I'd had macular degeneration. I've had it for years. It was slowly progressing, and I've been taking the xanthins and the lutins and everything. Probably if you have that problem, And so I was a little sweating a little bit. Then he put it back down and he looked at the file again, and he looked at the eye real quick, and then it wasn't until the end of the session that he actually told me that my DRUES, or dry macular degeneration, had disappeared. And he was a pretty old guy, right? So he'd never seen that happen before. And I really didn't, was it the C60? I didn't really know at that time. But in the meantime, my electrical engineer on the project, Gary Rodriguez, he had developed severe wet macular degeneration. Well, actually, he had it for years because he also had type 2 diabetes. So, after my experience, I went out and made a preparation of C60 in MCT oil.
Okay.
So some of your audience may know MCTs can be turned into ketones by your liver very quickly, and that's kind of flex fuel for your cells. So if you have a glucose processing issue, the ketones is a very important backup, and he took a tablespoon a day for 15 months, and his severe wet macular degeneration went away, and his type 2 diabetes went subclinical.
Wow.
And so that kind of fixed it for me. So I started making it for, family, friends, and myself, because, going blind sucks. And then I shared it with some of my local healthcare practitioners here in the area, and they had great results, and they shared it with their customers. And one day somebody on the internet, mentioned how it saved his and his wife's life, and the company just kind of, sales exploded, and then really trauma came in, because it's one thing to go slow and then go fast, and you're running a
Right.
business and all that. And so good thing I had C60. So anyway,
Yes,
today
exactly.
I got a partner, and it's moving along, and it's a great healthcare product that we can offer people.
And we are exposed to so much radiation each and every day that we are completely unaware of for most people.
Oh yeah, it's in everything from your cell phones, to the screen you're looking at, and just all, yes, radiation. But it's not just for radiation; it's really for any sort of oxidative burden that your body's under. It's just not that. Think of all the toxic chemicals we're now exposed to. That a few centuries ago, 99% of them didn't exist. Right?
Exactly.
There's just a huge oxidative burden and toxic burden that we're exposed to every day. And you really have to work hard to make sure that you can overcome that.
And that's what it's about, is doing what you need to do in order to support your body through it. We can't go back in time and get rid of all of this. It is what it is. In my research, it's been over 100,000 man-made chemicals introduced since World War II. So that is a massive burden on the human body that the human body is not designed to cope with. Yes, we have liver and kidneys to help flush out our toxins, except that they're so overburdened they can't do their job to the degree that is required in today's environment.
Yeah. And that's kind of one of the things that where C60 comes in. There's a famous Botry study, which maybe we'll talk about. It increased the life of Whistler rats by 90%. But it took 5.5 years. So while they were waiting to, for the last C60 rat to pass away so they could do the study, because all the others, the controls had all gone, and they were just hanging around forever, they did another study where they basically gave two sets of rats. One was exposed to carbon tetrachloride. They both were, one had C60, the control didn't. They exposed them to carbon tetrachloride. I don't know if your audience may know, but carbon tetrachloride used to be used in the dry cleaning business and is extremely toxic. And the C60 rats didn't have any liver damage from the carbon tetrachloride, and that's been found with a lot of things, because it's really not the toxic chemical that is the problem. Is as that toxic chemical breaks down, it produces a lot of very highly energetic free radicals. And it's those free radicals that go out and cause a damage. So C60 neutralizes those free radicals, which is basically your body rusting, before they can cause damage. And the same with radiation. Radiation produces a lot of free radicals, and C60 neutralizes those free radicals before they can cause significant damage. So your body kind of stays healthy.
And so coming back to that word that you used earlier with oxidative stress, that is the free radicals. That is the body rusting. And I really like that analogy here as well. Like, you think of the exhaust on your car and the rust that is at the end of the exhaust pipe of your car, right? You go look at that. That's what's happening inside your body as a result of all these toxins that we are exposed to. As you said, not just radiation type toxins, just the chemical toxins that are in our waterways, our airways, etc., getting onto our skin from pollution and car exhaust, etc. So let's just unpack that a little bit more in terms of how is that now impacting our aging process? How is that impacting our ability to live the life we want to live for as long as we want to live?
Well, it's an added burden on, your cellular processes. And so when you get added burden, extra, your telomeres shorten much more quickly when you're under oxidative stress. And also, that's also social stress. I don't know, I'm in the U.S., things are not so great here sometimes, and Canada and the same. So, yeah, all of those things add together. And it's just you have to do what you can to minimize it And C60 it's one tool in the toolkit for good health, right? You still have to get the proper sleep, drink clean water, eat healthy foods, stay away from those seed oils and the trans fats and stuff. I mean, it's just all of those, and you have to supplement correctly too, because a lot of our foods today are just, well, maybe they're kind of, the soils are mined with modern agricultural processes, so you don't have all the nutrients, micro and minerals especially. So, I mean, there's just all those things you need to do to optimize your health, and it's kind of your responsibility. That was kind of, because, you know, the person really most responsible for your health is yourself. And so you need to really step up and do everything. And C60 is just one step in that. And I could get a little deeper into the science on that and where it kind of fits in the whole, you know, health and wellness area.
I would love you to. And I just want to reiterate the fact that your health is your responsibility. And yet the societal programming is such that I'll just do what I want. I'll watch the ads on TV and the media, and they've got me eating all this fast food because it's convenient. And, you know, I wait to get sick. I go to the doctor and they give me a magic pill and they fix me. And all of this societal belief structure that has actually got us to this place of chronic illness to the degree that we have now, where we're getting sicker, not better, despite all of the investment in, you know, modern medicine. And don't get me wrong, our allopathic system is wonderful. If you've been in a car crash and you need blood, you need a broken bone fixed, etc., etc. It's failing us in the world of chronic illness. And that's where a product like C60 and everything that you've just mentioned is, you know, eating the right foods and drinking water, getting sleep, managing stress levels, all of that allows us to overcome the chronic illness that we've been told we will have forever, and we have to take this pill every day for the rest of our lives.
Mm-hmm, so that's true. Yeah, because I was told, you know, the macular degeneration is just going to get worse and worse until, you know, whatever, right? And because it was a supposedly incurable disease, but really, and it kind of gets to really what happened is C60 helps optimize mitochondria function, because there's really four big antioxidants in your cells, a lot of them endogenously produced, and some of them you can't supplement for, that, you know, that are the key to the Krebs cycle. That's the ATP, the energy powerhouse for your cells. And so the four of them really are, there's CoQ10, and you can supplement for that. And certainly if you have any gray hair, you should be supplementing for CoQ10. Another is glutathione, and they have various new methods now. They have like liposomal, and they have transdermal, and various things that we could do. But there's really nothing for what is called superoxide dismutase, which takes care of superoxide, which is the main oxidative radical produced by your mitochondria, those little energy powerhouses in your cell that, you know, basically keep you going. And also catalase, which they work together. Usually superoxide's produced, which is an oxygen. You know, talking about your body rusting, a superoxide's an oxygen with an extra electron. So if anything was going to cause rust, that's it. And a lot of times that'll get together with nitric oxide and make peroxynitrate, which then is, you know, that's when you get DOMS. That's because that can go a long way. So you really want to get rid of that superoxide. And as we get older, our superoxide dismutase and catalase, which take care of it, go down. It's just part of the process of aging. And our mitochondria have their own DNA, so they kind of turn themselves down, their thermostat, so they don't produce as much energy, so they don't damage themselves. And that's, as you get older, a lot of people get less energy, less mental focus. And like, for instance, the retina is actually part of the brain. It's actually nerve cells from the brain. It actually grows out there. And so nerve cells are like half mitochondria by weight or volume, wherever which you want to say that. So having healthy mitochondria is like key to good neural function or good eye health. And that's C60, yeah, because C60, it's basically, it's non-polar, so we have to dissolve it in oil, like organic oil, MCT, olive oil, avocado oil, just, you know, those healthy oils for you. So it'll pass your gut barrier, pass your brain barrier, go into your cells by endocytosis, then in your mitochondria, where it acts as an SOD catalase mimic. It does a job of both in one shot, and then can reset itself, right? So it doesn't burden the body's chemistry. And so that's really key. And that's really what got rid of my macular degeneration, because once my mitochondria in my retina had full energy, well, then they could repair themselves. They could heal themselves. And that's the thing. And it's not just there. We have a lot of any tissue type that has a lot of mitochondria. cells the endocrine system. That's one of the key things that C60, because one of the side effects of C60 is people have like an increase in libido. But not only that, because we have all the different endocrine systems in our body, and so when you take C60, like a lady had Hashimoto's, and this has happened many times. They take Hashimoto's, and which is they're zero function in her thyroid, and then after about 6 months, she went in for her kind of semi-annual checkup, and the doctor took her off some of the medicine. I mean, because one of the things C60 does, it also increases stem cell production. And it does that through getting rid of we have senescent cells in our body. They're like zombie cells, usually the DNA is damaged or something, and they go into the fermentation mode, which means they're pulling a lot more energy off the body, but they're not really producing anything. And in fermentation mode, they make toxic chemicals, which kind of, fermentation, right? Alcohols and other things, which are poisoning the cells around it. And what happens when take C60 goes in senescent cells and it restarts their mitochondria back into the oxygen burning mode, not the fermentation mode. And then those mitochondria will send messages to the nuclear DNA and they won't get the right message back. And then they'll cause apoptosis, which is programmed cell death. So those senescent cells will be wiped out and then your body responds by making a whole lot more stem cells. And so that's really what's going on. People, the long-term takers of C60 have increased telomere length, but it's not due to like the telomeres in any of the cells increasing. It's those senescent cells, which usually have very shortened telomeres, are being wiped out and replaced by stem cells, which have almost a full telomere length. And that's why I like the Hashimoto person, because literally she was getting new cells in her thyroid that allowed the thyroid to slowly come back online. I mean, it's not an overnight thing. Like my macular degeneration it was at least 8 months, right? And Drew's is kind of like the early stages of it. And Gary Rodriguez, it was 15 months, right, with him before his dry and other cases like that. If something took a long time to be a problem, it's going to take a while to heal.
Well, I love all that you've shared there. And again, saying the same thing that I say is, the society programs us to think a magic pill will solve it, and it isn't a magic pill. However, the body is designed to heal itself when we create the environment for it to be able to do so. And a body that is very toxic and under a lot of stress and not getting enough sleep doesn't have the energy or the environment to be able to heal itself because it's just in survival mode. When we give the body what it needs, which is what C60 is doing, along with the good sleep and the nutrition, etc., now we're creating the environment where the body has more energy and so it can do its healing work, which is what this is allowing. And as you said, your macular degeneration it wasn't not there one day and you woke up the next day and it was there. It was forming in your body over who knows how long. Just like cancers, just like all these other chronic illnesses, the lady with Hashimoto's, it wasn't not there one day and there the next day. By diagnosis, you'd think it might be. However, the symptoms had been there for long before that. And again, society, we're taught to ignore our symptoms and push through and keep working harder and do more and be strong and etc., etc. Whereas the symptoms are our body's way of talking to us. And the sooner we acknowledge that something is off, the sooner we can then take action to do something about it. And C60 sounds like a fabulous product for doing that. And I love how you explained it. You're literally, that's the aging process, right? Is those cynosis cells, becoming toxic and then getting them into that apoptic state so they'll die off, and then we can create the new cells with the, in your case here we're talking stem cells, the young cells, the cells with energy that allow us to be able to live life fully. And the other piece there is, I'm sure, just in the world of holistic health, we're not saying this cures anybody of anything. What this is supporting the body's ability to heal itself. Am I correct?
Oh, yes, and that's true. And I think people should educate themselves too. Kind of, if you want to learn more about C60, there's a 501c3 website we support, whatisc60.com. And you can go in there and you can see, because we can't, we can't talk about a lot of things, but a 501c3 can. And so what is C60.org? You can go there and you can learn, a lot more about C60. And there's other things too, like for instance, only dissolved C60, say dissolved in an oil. We also put it in a gummy. Well, technically it's a fruity because it uses pectin, not gelatin. But we can't, certain things you can't go in there. And so it has to be dissolved. Like particles of C60 have no, they have to, it has to be dissolved. And so you just have to kind of know that because into the right method. Also, one of the things about our C60, we're not the only one that does it, but we're like the main one that is we only use sublimated C60. And sublimation is like the cousin of evaporation or distillation, right? It's when a solid turns into a gas, then back into a solid, and that leaves a really pure product. And most C60 out there is actually purified through using methylbenzene, which is a kind of a known carcinogen solvent. And so that's surely, you don't really want that in your diet. So you want to make sure you're using sublimated C60. And we're also the only company that does third-party testing. You can see the little QR code there.
Yep.
So all of our products have a QR code. It goes to a third-party tester, and you just put in your expiration date on the box, and you can pull up your own batch. You can see the concentration and purity of our C60. And we because we're the only company that actually tests their product, third-party tests it. We've also tested all the competitors. And so about 40% of the C60 products offered out there don't have any C60 in them.
Wow.
And then about 30% have insignificant amounts, right?
Nothing that the body can do anything with.
Yeah, exactly. And so that just leaves you about 30% of the companies. And there are other good C60 companies out there. But we're kind of we're the ones that the third party testing and only the sublimation, because you really want to look for sublimated C60, and that's 99.99% pure, which is the highest purity possible. Because my family and friends were taking this, and I want to make a healthy, safe product, and with third party testing, it's safe and effective.
And just out of interest, when you talk about your family and friends taking it, what is the minimum age that you would recommend that people are before they start taking this? Obviously, it's about supporting the body through the aging process. So we're not having our children taking this, not even teens likely. What age do you recommend? Do you have a recommendation?
No, we don't really have a recommendation. It's really an adult choice. Now, we have lots of children. In fact, Jess, our 49-year-old CEO, she's a partner in the company with me. She just had her baby at 49. Wow. And that's another C60. I guess that's a co-indicator or what do you call those things to watch out for is, because C60, we have lots and lots of C60 babies, because what happens is the endocrines, I always thought that the cells of the brain, right, had the most mitochondria, the nerve cells, but actually the cells, the endocrine system have the most mitochondria. So when you take C60, it restarts all the mitochondria in your endocrine system. So you get more melatonin, more human growth hormone, your hypothalamus, pituitary, all of that stuff. And also in, obviously in your adrenals, that you'll produce, more androgens, which then turn into the various small, estrogen, testosterone, whatever, progesterone, whatever it is. And so, so she just had her first baby at 49. So that's another thing. And the other thing is also just a little co-indicator or thing is, if you're on blood thinners, you probably need to talk with your doctor before you start taking C60, because C60 can restart your adrenal glands, and they make the mineral corticoids, and that's what makes your blood, quote, thin or thick, right? And so the underlying condition can go away, and then if you're taking blood thinner, your blood can get too thin. So you just need more testing. Like we had another thing, to a certain extent, hormone stuff. We had a 70-year-old guy, he went to his doctor, his testosterone was 350, right? So the doctor gives him creams, and he's, running them mid 700s. And then he starts taking C60. 3 months later, he goes in, for his checkup, and his testosterone's 1200. So his doctor backs him off on the cream. So it's just that's also part of the, taking care of your health is also getting proper testing, getting your blood tested and a regular and other testing methods on a regular basis, so you know what's really going on inside your body.
Absolutely. Just knowing your numbers and knowing that anytime you're giving your body something that allows the healing process to happen, you need to be testing and looking at those numbers more often because of that very reason. That if you're on medications, you may find you don't need as strong a dose. You may find over time you don't need it at all anymore. And ultimately, that's what we all want, right? Is to be able to get off the meds and have our body working for us and us working for our body by treating it well and giving it what it needs in order to thrive. So I love all of this conversation, Ken, and let's just talk about aging skin as well as we talk about this whole process of how C60 is helping our body and the mitochondria. What skin is, our largest organ, most visible. What do people notice there? I know you've done some studies in Japan.
Oh yes, that's one of the things. The very first human study is they put C60 in a cream, and Japanese women applied it to their face, and it reduced lines and wrinkles in Japanese women. And yes, so some women say Japanese women don't get lines and wrinkles. Well, I guess to the lines and wrinkles they get, it actually works very well. And Jess, our CEO, we back engineered some of her favorite products and put it with a C60 base. So we have like a C60 anti-gravity serum. So but it has all the other things, all those different things, and also we have an under eye cream.
Okay.
It has like the copper peptides, and there's just like a whole list of ingredients that they've been found to be very effective at, making. It smells great too. So I've been using it. So I'm kind of a guy, but it's been found. Yeah, C60 definitely will reduce lines and wrinkles, and they didn't really know, but eventually it was, I talked about it earlier. It just basically gets rid of the senescent cells and increases your stem cells. So if you have more stem cells, it allows as your face, renews over, you have more stem cells. So that's what causes the lines and wrinkles to go away, because you have more stem cells, which give you a bigger base, and the collagen is more strongly built. Of course, taking a lot of collagen supplementation doesn't hurt either, and so those are things. So yeah, C60 definitely will increase skin, and we have other skin products. It's especially like people they found that it's let's say you get sunburn or something, and you put like C60 Skin, which is another product, on the sunburn or just other burns, and a lot of times it won't peel or scar. So that's one thing that people have found. C60 is really great with burns and other skin problems, inflammation. It just, you put it on, and like mosquito bites, we could put it on, and about 30 minutes later it stops itching because it gets down there and stops. The neutrophils are what cause inflammation. Neutrophils are one of the immune cells that causes the inflammation. They use superoxide, like machine gun bullets, to take out bacteria or whatever they're attacking. But C60 kind of neutralizes superoxide. So when you take the C60 on it, the inflammation and swelling will go down. That's it's anecdotal, and there's a few studies,
Yes.
but you'll notice that right away.
Yeah, I love that. And you can see how fair-skinned I am. So I have known too many sunburns in my life. So that's awesome to know. Another area where I'm interested to know more about using this is in regards to athletes with the competition level, and they're wanting to win.
Oh yes, yeah. I should notice that I'm not a medical doctor and can't give medical advice, and I'm a research scientist. And but people have been using C60 we've had some mid-packers go to champions in their field using C60. And usually their method of what they do, or if you like the gym rats, if you start taking C60, you'll be able to do, when you're in competition in the gym with people, people kind of know how much you can do or how much you can lift. So these guys, you could be able to do more reps or lift more. Not that when you get gray hair, you shouldn't really be heavy lifting anymore. It's not good for your spine, but that's not here or there. That's just my personal opinion. But we've had people go from mid-pack to champions in their field. Usually what they use, they'll use our C60 and MCT oil because, as you know, MCTs can be turned into ketones, which is like fuel for your cells. So you get they put it in the water, like they'll put it a little bit on the top of the water. So you take the water, has the MCT, which gives you the energy boost. The C60 delays the lactic acid buildup. And of course, the water's the good stuff too. Hydrogen water, especially if you can get it, and all of those together just give you that little extra edge to go to the next level of your athletic performance. And it works in horses too, though we're not the company supplying the horses in Ireland. But some of the horses in Ireland have gone from mid-packs to winners in their fields using C60.
Fascinating. So what is the dosage that people take? And you just mentioned the athletes putting it in their water. So how do you take it? The average person, if somebody's interested in this going, it sounds like I really need that, what would you recommend?
Well, we're basically a rule of thumb on our website, which is shopc60.com. There's a age and weight thing, but the rule of thumb basically, if you don't have gray hair, it's a teaspoon. If you have gray hair, it's a tablespoon.
Okay.
And you can modify that with weight. That's pretty much all you need. Beyond a couple tablespoons a day, you wouldn't get any added benefit. Now, athletes use that amount sometimes, because when you're running, your mitochondria can produce 50 times, up to 100 times more oxidative radicals than just when you're resting. So
Right.
having that extra C60 can get that, and also it slows down that DOMS, which is delayed onset muscle soreness. Because one of our customers, he's an older guy, he's using it, but he gave it to his kids, one of his kids, because the kid was going out in San Diego, was going to football, right? They have spring training, I guess, when they bring him in, and so he was taking it, and he shared it with one of his friends, and so usually after the workouts for spring training, the guys are all so tired they can't do anything. They just lie around. But these guys would take it and they'd be up and ready to go within like 45 minutes to an hour and go out on the town, right? And finally, they said, "What are you guys doing? How are you doing this?" And then some of the sub coaches never became. There's a few sports teams that use it, clandestinely, but it's not banned by any athletic organization. But if you do heavy workouts, especially you get that muscle soreness, C60 will reduce that DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, pretty significantly. And you'll notice your increased performance and then your faster recovery times.
I love it. This is such a profound discovery that you've made. And it's all natural. It's benefiting the body. There's no downside to it. And what I really love is that it is supporting the aging process of the body. Because as you say, and we know, aging sucks. And here is a tool that we can use to fuel our body and give it the support through that process. Because ultimately the body can live well beyond 100. It's just the environment that is preventing that in so many people in today's world. And we're at a point now where, unfortunately, the children being born today are destined to live shorter lives than their parents because we are continuing to create more and more toxicity of all kinds in the world. And here is a product that can help change that.
Yes, it definitely gives you the edge, and because there's no way you're going to escape all of it. There's always, toxins here. There's, the food. If you go out to a restaurant, you never know exactly what you're eating there. They put various things. You do your best, but C60 can cover some of the things that get in there anyway. In its specific things, there's you still have to do all the other things. Especially vitamin D and vitamin K and the magnesium, and because we have like the standard American diet, and
Yes.
it's so bad that so it's just C60 is just one tool in the toolkit for good health, but it's an important tool.
And that sad American diet, in my research, only gives us 7 to 9 of the nutritional needs that in a day that we need. And in order for us to thrive, we need upwards of 90 nutritional ingredients in our body. And so, yes, we are so deficient with that diet. And no wonder people are sick and overweight and struggling with all sorts of chronic illnesses. So, yeah, love that you have created this product. Thank you for coming on the podcast and sharing all about it. And I hope our listeners will all take a look at your website. And I've got all of the information in the show notes. And you have very generously offered a discount with a promo code that I have in the show notes for 10% off everything store-wide that isn't a subscription or a bundle. Everything else, 10% off regular price. So thank you for your generosity so people can use the products and see the results for themselves.
Yes, you can go to whatisc60.org and kind of look at the research and really try it for yourself. And you'll definitely see results within a week or two. You'll get like better mental focus, more energy, And then the other things take a while as your body rebuilds correctly, because it also gets in the ribosomes. Those are the things in your cell which build the proteins. So your proteins can be built without being damaged, and then they can go, to do all the different things that they need in your cells. So it's kind of one of those long-term things but it really helps, and as part of one of many other things you need to stay optimized health in our modern environment.
Beautiful. And have you had any results? I know you mentioned the macular degeneration. What about glaucoma? Have you had any results with that you're aware of?
Some people say it maybe helped a little bit with the glaucoma. It's we can't really say that it's been that much on the glaucoma part. There's other things, there's always cannabis, but yeah, it helps a little bit, but it seems really any tissue type that has a lot of mitochondria, that seems to be where C60 really
Right.
performs. So nerve
Right.
tissue, endocrine system, kidney. We had like a lady, she had like 30% kidney loss, and her nephrologist told her it was only going to get worse, and then she took the C60, went in, she had 100% kidney function next time she came in. And it's really those mitochondria. C60
Right.
just is great at optimizing mitochondria performance, because there's some people that have alleles, that's a genetic alleles. It's in your
Mhm.
genes that cause SOD production to drop off faster than other people. And so C60 kind of fixes that gap so that they can get back to where they were when they were younger. So that's really one of the key things, is optimizing mitochondria function. C60 is really important in that area.
Beautiful. I love it. So, Ken, I love to ask every single guest that comes on my show, what does "don't wait for your wake up call" mean to you?
It really means just researching, educating yourself, and actually getting out there and doing it. I mean, exercise, how you don't really want to do it sometimes, but you just really have to go. I mean, just have to motivate yourself and just do it, because, the benefits are so much more when you do that. So, I mean, just get off your butt and get going. That's probably what you could say.
I love that. So true. Just like the Nike slogan, just do it, right? And how can people get hold of you if they would like to learn more, reach out, connect with you, support your efforts? I will have it all in the show notes. However, if you want to highlight the best ways for people to, again, get hold of the product or get hold of you.
Oh, but shopc60.com that's the place to go. And if you Ken at shopc60.com, if you want to send me a personal email, that's the place to go there. And there's also whatisc60.org, which kind of gives you the background if you want to, because doing your own research is always important on anything. And so that's just a tool or an opportunity where you can, it's all together and you can kind of learn more quickly.
I love that. So, as we wrap this episode, Ken, are there any last words of wisdom you would like to share with the audience here today?
Oh, not really. Just just do your best to improve your health and stay focused on life.
I love that. That's what it is, right? Stay focused on life. And if we're focused on life and living, then we will do our best to be optimizing our health. Beautiful. So thank you so very much for coming and sharing this incredible product, sharing the science behind it, sharing the experiences you've had behind it for anyone who is wanting to further optimize their health, particularly their mitochondria, regain your energy, release some gray hairs even, release some wrinkles, overcome some health issues potentially. It's certainly not going to lead you astray. This is you giving your body what it needs at a time in your life when it needs more of it and the body is making less of it or less able to make it itself. So check out the store at shopc60.com. Try it for yourself and notice the improvements that you experience. And if you know someone who needs to hear this episode, please share it with them. And thank you always for tuning in, taking interest in your health, and making it a priority in your life. And thank you again for being on the show, Ken.
Well, thank you.
I am pleased to share with you a new training called Karma Code Timeline Therapy Practitioner Certification. This training is a powerful 3-day live on Zoom session teaching you how to help others in clearing all of their stuffed down emotion of anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, rage, and shame, without them having to talk about any of the situations that ever caused the root of that anger, and release it from the cells in their body and have them feeling light. And also to release all of the BS stories running around in our head of being unlovable, unworthy, not good enough, powerless, etc., etc. And get rid of all of that chatter and allow them to have peace and quiet in their head. This training is transformational for your clients and for you, because during the training, you get to experience it both as a practitioner and a client, and release all of that garbage for yourself and clear out your emotional body, your mental body, and keep them clear so that all of that stuff down emotion isn't causing dis-ease later in your life. Check out the show notes for the link. Our first training is happening in 2026.